Well, hello. How are you doing? I'm hoping you're ready for a little math. We're going to begin a lesson number 7 in module number 3 for 2nd grade math. And this starts with a review. You might remember that our book likes to draw hundreds and tens and ones a little different than we do. These represent the hundreds for the book, right? These represent the tens for the book. And these represent the ones in our book. We use this quick draw method, which is a bit easier, I believe, a bit simpler. So let's count. This is a review of hundreds, tens, and ones, and writing them in the different forms. Standard just means the usual way, right? The usual way we say a number. So what do we have here? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, right? We got 700s, 10, 20, 30, 40, right? We've got 4 tens with a value of 40. We've got 1 1 with a value of 1. Let's stick it together. 740 and 1 make 741. The standard way that we write 741 is like that. Expanded form means we take that number and pull it apart, right? We were working on that yesterday. And it turns out the way that I wrote it here with you just now is the expanded form. Expanded form of 741 is 700, that's the value of the hundreds, plus 40, that's the value of the tens, plus 1, that's the value of the ones, is equal to 741. We call that expanded. And then there's word form. And word form is when we write it out in words, you know, and instead of the number code, right, we actually write it out. So if we were to whisper to ourselves 741, then we would write it 700. I'm going to separate the 41 with the comma there. 741. And I think we put a hyphen here. A hyphen is like a little dash. 41. Yeah, and that's the written form. So, again, that's a review of the different forms that we use. I believe that you have a sheet like this in your math journal. It goes with lesson 7. It's called an activity sheet. And the instructions say spell numbers. How many can you write correctly in 2 minutes? This is an exercise that it just intends to put some attention on how we write in the word form, right? We just wrote one in the word form. And it's not meant to create stress, you know, nothing to get worried about. But it will point out to many of us that we may not know how to write the words, to spell the words, and at least through 10 is very important, right? So, number 1, we spell 1. Number 2, we spell 2, and this is the number 2, right? 3. How can you do yourself if you try to write out numbers and you have a limit of 2 minutes? How many can you get, right? How many? Again, not the purpose of racing, but the purpose of calling attention to how you write numbers, and that it is important that you can write numbers, right? I'm going to stop there with 10, but you get the idea. This is worthwhile spending a couple minutes with it and then reviewing and saying, which ones do I really need to learn how to spell, right? In your math journal, the problem set, the first problem set, has instructions like this. Match the word form or the unit form with the standard form. Well, the standard form is represented here on this side. All of these are standard, right? The normal way we write numbers. And what we need to do is match them. I know some 2nd graders who love this kind of exercise. It's kind of fun. 374 4, right? Now, keep that in your head, 374. And then look, where is the 374? Up, there it is, 374. And then carefully connect them, right? That's the idea here. Now, as you'll notice, sometimes the book will give you the challenge by mixing up the order, right? Tens and hundreds. Wait a second. It should be 600, 5 tens, 0 ones. That makes it 650, right? And then we're looking 650. There it is, right? And we connect 650 with 600s and 5 tens. Okay? That's the idea. Now, before we do this next page and the problem set, I want to share something with you that might help you with something like this. 34 ones, you know, like what is meant by that? And this one, 50 tens, what is meant by that? This can be really confusing. So to help us kind of get a grip on what's meant by that, if we consider looking at the place value chart and we imagine that there were actually 34 ones and we took these ones and we put 34 of them in here, we would probably realize, oh my gosh, these 34 are really, what we would do with 34 is we'd bundle, wouldn't we? We'd end up bundling. That's 34 ones, right? We would end up bundling and making 3 tens out of those. So 34 ones is really the same as 3 tens, 4 ones. And we want you to appreciate that even though it might be written like this, 34 ones, really the value is 3 tens, 4 ones, right? The same can be said about the tens. If there was an enormous group, I think we circled 50 tens. Now 50 tens is an enormous number of tens, right? We wouldn't even have enough space to fit 50 tens here. But we do know that once we get to 10 tens, what do? Right? Am I hearing you say bundle? Or trade them, or exchange them. I know that's what we do. We do that with 10. So if we would trade 10 tens for 100, well, that'd be the first 10. And then we got 20, right? Would make 2 tens, and 30 tens would make 300s, pardon me, these are the hundreds. 30 tens, 300s. 40 tens would make 400s, and 50 tens would make 500s. So 50 tens is really the same as 500s, right? And so we want you to appreciate that even though it's going by a different name, that the value is really, as we've always said, right? The value of this 34 ones is really 3 tens, 4 ones, or 34. So this would be 434, right? And this one with 50 tens, my goodness, 50 tens would be the same. I'm going to put the ones at the end. Would be the same as 509. Okay? And here we have another 86 tens. If we put 86 in a place value chart, here's another way to think of it. We got our hundreds, got our tens, and got our ones. If we put 86 tens in the tens place, it would look like this, right? And then the 3 ones and the ones, it would look like this. Because these 80 tens are really the same as 800s. And the number here is 863. Then we find it. Oh, there it is. And we connect it, right? 509 we find over here, and we connect it. And 434, we find it over here and we connect it. In this particular page, there are more than one way to connect with these three target numbers. There's several different ways. Hey, look, there's 9 and 500, otherwise known as 509, right? Connect with your pencil back to 509, okay? And that's the way that you'll do this page. All right. Best wishes to you as you do math independently. Have fun.